Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, The Legit Astrologer. My name is Rohit Kapoor. In my channel, I make videos on Vedic astrology, most importantly, the upcoming transits. This is a series of videos that I'm going to be making on a monthly basis where I'm going to talk about the transits and how it is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant or the moon signs. And this is a holistic approach that I have in terms of taking the key monthly transits into account and make one prediction video each and every month. You can also check out my video on 2024 transit analysis for all 12 ascendant and moon signs, which is there on my channel, along with some other latest videos on different transits and planetary aspects. I will continue to make more videos for your awareness and try to keep the concepts very simple. To make it clear, I'm going to share my screen and will be presenting using the software that I have, which is the most sought after software, which is Parashara's Light. This gives accurate information as far as the calculations of each and every planet is concerned. And one of the most detailed report is something that one can have from Parashara Light. Now, before I talk about all the 12 different ascendant signs and the moon signs one by one, and how the month of March is going to be for you, let me talk about some key dates and transits. March is a heavy karmic month because there are a lot of changes that are happening. So over the next couple of months, we can expect significant amount of changes as far as our lives are concerned and how it is going to have an impact. During the month of March itself, there are four key transits that are happening. On 7th of March, two planets are changing their signs. That is Mercury as well as Venus. Mercury will move out from Aquarius and will be moving to the sign of Pisces, where it gets debilitated. It will also be conjoined with Rahu. So that is a time when Mercury will have some sort of affliction due to its debilitation and being conjoined with Rahu. And this Mercury will also be joined by Sun later in the month. Venus will move out from Capricorn and will enter the sign of Aquarius, where it will gradually meet Saturn over the next few days. Mars will be moving out from its exaltation sign of Capricorn, and on 14th of March, it will enter the sign of Aquarius, and it will also come in contact with Saturn over the next few days. Sun, which has been going in the sign of Aquarius, and while I make this video, both Sun and Saturn are closely conjoined. The last couple of days of February is when the Sun and Saturn are at the same degree, which means that wherever the sign of Aquarius is in your chart is going to have some or the other effects over the next few weeks. So this is generally applied to everyone. And Sun is going to move to the sign of Pisces on 14th of March, where it will come in contact with Rahu. It will also come in contact with Mercury. So therefore, I could say that there's a lot of changes. One of the most common remedy during the month of March is to do a lot of meditation, do a lot of sadhana prayers, and the right kind of mantras, because a lot of planets are changing their signs. And whenever there are shift of energies, it creates complexity. It creates a sense of uncertainty because there are changes that are coming up. So sometimes these changes are forced on us. Sometimes we take the right step. So in this video, I am going to give some guidance to each and every ascendant, how the month of March looks like and beyond, and what could some of the remedies that you could do in order to make the most of this month. Now let's begin with Aries ascendants. So for Aries ascendants, let's try to understand how the month of March is. I'm going to look at key transits for Aries ascendants. So some of the important planets for you is your Lagna Lord itself, your ascendant Lord, which is Mars or Mangal, your fifth Lord Sun, fourth Lord Moon, of course, and the ninth Lord, that is your Bhagyesha, Jupiter. During the entire month, the saving grace for Aries ascendant is that Jupiter continues to transit in your ascendant in Bharani Nakshatra. Your ninth Lord is in the ascendant, forming a beautiful yoga. It supports you in a lot of aspects of your future, and also at the same time, the support of your fortune or bhagya, I would say. Mars continues to go for the first half of the month. It continues to transit in the sign of Capricorn, which is its exaltation sign. And 14th of March, it will move out from the sign of Capricorn and it will enter the sign of Aquarius. So the first half of the month, there's quite possibility that if you're looking forward to getting a new job or applying for something as change of work is concerned, you have an excellent time if in case your dasha is supportive. See, we need to understand this that most importantly, it is dependent on the kind of time period that you're going through at present. Okay, what is the dasha, antardasha, pratantardasha? Transits play a supporting role. They will only play a role if your dasha is supportive. Now, Mars in the second half will move to the sign of Aquarius, where it is naturally forming a Dhan Yoga. Firstly, your ninth lord in the ascendant, and the ascendant lord is in the 11th house. This is a special Dhan Yoga that will be there for the next 45 days from mid of March. So, in case you're expecting some kind of increment, some sort of incentive, this could be a potentially favorable time for you to make the most of it. Also, to be able to create a secondary source of income, this is something which you must take into account and consider at the same time. Now, another important graha for you is Sun, which continues to transit in the sign of Aquarius. Now, it has come in very close contact with Saturn by the time you see this video. It has passed the exact same degree of Saturn. Over the next 15 days, you can have or witness some effects related to the sign of Aquarius, depending on the natal placement of Saturn and Sun in your chart. If they are well placed, then you're likely to have positive effects. If in case they're not well placed, then you're likely to face some sort of enmity. This is where you have to be extremely careful of some of the other people who are there in your life and take a very conscious and a mindful step in terms of involving other people in your decision making. This sun is going to move to your 12th house in the sign of Pisces. Sun is considered Maran Karaka there. So the second half of the month, you would struggle in terms of having resources because the sun will undergo an affliction where it will come in contact with Rahu. It is in the 12th house, that is Maran Karaka. So you need to be careful in terms of making sure that you have enough resources to do the work that you have. So the first half of the month is something where you have to spend more energies to make use of that time to plan and ensure that you have enough resources for your work so that the later half could be beneficial for you. All in all, I would say that Jupiter's support in transiting in your ascendant is quite beneficial during this time. But on the other side, if you also understand from a principal point of view, if Jupiter is alone in the chart, okay, in a particular house, then it is likely to cause some sort of impact on that house as well. So you are likely to go through some sort of physical discomfort. And that is something you have to be mindful of during this time, particularly in the second half of March and also the first half of April, I would say till the time sun comes into your ascendant. You have to take care of your immunity. Watch what you eat. That is the ultimate remedy for you because Jupiter is also the significator of expansion. So you have to be very careful about these things. Okay. All in all, I would say it is a progressive month, but at the same time, you have to be very careful of other people you deal with and be extra conscious because you are likely to develop enmity with people, and these enemies could be very, very strong and very powerful. Okay, your Venus that is transiting in your 10th house along with Mars is also going to move in your 11th house. So, your 11th house will have a lot of energies of grahas and also in the 12th house. So these two houses will have the maximum amount of energy. I say that the signs of Aquarius, the signs of Pisces, wherever they are in your chart, are going to have some or the other impact because this is where majority of the planets are going to be over the next few days. However, in any case, I wish you the very best and I hope this month passes by for you and you achieve some success in your workplace and in your daily life as well. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus ascendants, how is the month of March? This is a sample chart that I have plotted, keeping in mind when Taurus is rising on the first day of March. Now, this is an example where I will talk about some key planets. Most importantly, I'll talk about Venus, I'll talk about Mercury, I'll talk about Saturn, I'll also talk about Sun's transit, and of course, have a holistic view of how the month of March is going to be for Taurus ascendants. You need to ensure one thing and make sure of this thing that mostly you will have planets either in your 10th house or the 11th house, the sign of Aquarius, the sign of Pisces. These are the two signs which will have some heavy conjunctions, which will have some complexities during this time. So you can expect things related to these houses to be triggered. Now, this will depend on your ongoing Mahadasha, Antardasha, and Pratantradasha that you have and how it is supporting you. Let's understand what is happening with Venus. Venus, for the first week of March, continues to transit in the sign of Capricorn in its last degrees, forming a nice yoga where it's an ascendant lord making a transit in the ninth house. Fortune would favor because this Venus, while moving out from the sign of Capricorn and entering the sign of Aquarius, should give you something in return. So, fortune will continue to favor in the first few days of the month, and then it moves to your 10th house. 10th house is your profession, your career. Again, it is forming a yoga, which is kind of a Simhasana yoga, which indicates progress. Here, Venus will also come in contact with your 10th lord, giving it extra strength, giving it extra support. So, Saturn and Venus for you are going to be conjoined over the next few days, which is forming a nice yoga. So, currently, you might be experiencing decisions or things related to your workplace. That is something which is likely to improve later in the month. I would say the next 40 days could be instrumental for you to make decisions related to your profession, your workplace, whether you're applying for a new job. You need to leverage the power of your network, particularly those people who are known to you or some elders, those people who are of the opposite sex at your workplace, that could they could really help you in order to cope up with certain times. Your fifth lord, which is Mercury, continues to transit in the 10th house, gaining direction strength, which is again indicating certain support, but it'll move to your 11th house in the sign of Pisces, where Mercury gets debilitated. So you might be in a situation after 7th of March that you will have lack of clarity as far as your future is concerned and what are some of the things that you were to do. You might consider yourself in a lost kind of situation. So you have to be mindful and conscious of the fact that you need to continue to set your goals because this Mercury will be under severe affliction. It is a fifth lord, it will come in contact with Rahu, it is debilitated. However, its dispositor, the dispositor of Mercury during this time, and Rahu, which is Jupiter, is transiting in your 12th house, which gives you a very clear message that spirituality, meditation, and any similar practices is the key to secure your future. The more you will meditate in the second half of the month, it is going to be better for you. Both Saturn and Sun, that is your 10th Lord and your 4th Lord, respectively, Saturn is also your 9th Lord, continue to be conjoined till about mid of March. Then Sun is going to move to your 11th house in the sign of Pisces. So your focus would be in terms of ensuring that you put your resources for certain gains, and these gains are going to bring a sense of satisfaction and a sense of ownership to you. So it's a promising month as far as your career progression is concerned, as far as certain gains are concerned. However, you also need to be very, very careful of other people in your life, particularly your friends that can turn foes, that can turn into enemies. Make sure you take your time in order to trust someone and being able to openly share your secrets. Overall, I feel that month of March is quite promising for you. Is quite good for you because there's a positive change that is coming at your workplace and you need to work towards it and make the most of this opportunity because what you do over the next few weeks, you will reap the benefits for months to come. I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Gemini ascendants. What's happening with Gemini ascendants? I'm going to talk about some important transits for the month of March, which is the month of change for many people because there are some very important transits that are happening, there are changes that are happening, and I'm going to focus on the transit of your Lagna Lord Mercury that is most important in the month of March. Your most important planet, that is Venus, which is your fifth lord. Gemini ascendants only have one yoga karaka, that is Venus or Shukra, and the transit of Saturn, which is your ninth lord. I'm going to talk about these key transits. I'm using a software here, which is Parashara Lite, and this is a sample chart on the first day of the month to give you a more representative view in terms of how the month of March is and what all houses these planets are going to transit and what kind of results you can expect. But then you need to understand the kind of dasha, antardasha, pratantardasha you're going through. That'll be the ultimate deciding factor. Let me start with Saturn, which continues to be in your ninth house. Your ninth lord is transiting in the ninth house. Sun and Saturn have recently had the same degree conjunction. So, over the next few days or weeks, you can expect results related to your ninth house, which is fortune, bhagya. Sun for you rules the third house, which is the house of change. So, any kind of planning, whether it is related to a long distance travel or a journey, particularly for dharmic purposes, particularly for religion, or you go to a spiritual place or take a spiritual journey, would be highly beneficial for you in the next couple of months. Because this is where you will see results. Also, certain repercussions related to either your father, your guru, and higher learning. So, these are some of the results that can get triggered over the next few weeks. Your Mercury is also conjoined in the first week of March, along with Saturn and Sun, that is your Lagna Lord, again forming a yoga and favoring you, giving you some favors from superiors at work, from government, or any sort of paperwork that is related to it. This Mercury is going to move to your 10th house. Yes, your Lagna Lord will be debilitated. However, it will gain directional strength in the 10th house, and it is conjoined with Rahu that will expand the significations of Mercury. One thing that Gemini ascendants need to be mindful of in the month of March is their decision making, especially with regards to workplace related matters. Have a low key, low profile, and try to analyze while you make decisions. Try to trust your judgment, your instincts, and at the same time, be very realistic of the kind of decisions that you make, because this is going to be the key. You are likely to have some sort of illusion, confusion, because your Lagna Lord is anyway going through certain affliction. It will have a conjunction with Sun later in the month because Sun joins Mercury on 14th of March. This is where your third lord is coming in your 10th house, which does indicate some sort of change as far as workplace is concerned, as far as your base location is concerned. So either you might shift your base location, you move from one place to the other, or you move your desk at the workplace, or you can have a shift of job, something different that you would start doing during the next 1 month or so. One thing which is extremely positive during this time is that Saturn for the coming days continues to be Vargottama, because in Navamsha or the D9, it is also in the sign of Aquarius. So this Saturn continues to be extremely powerful. Okay, and this is where you're likely to demonstrate some sort of positive results or aspects because your bhagya is favorable. Now the Saturn is also Vargottama. It is in Aquarius in the Vamsha as well. So it gains some special powers during this time. Okay. Um, Now what you need to understand is that your Venus, which is currently transiting in the eighth house along with Mars, finally both Mars and Venus are going to move out and they're going to enter the sign of Aquarius. Venus is going to do on 7th of March. Mars is going to enter the sign of Aquarius in the mid of March. Now, this Mars is your 11th lord and your 6th lord, which is forming a kind of Dhan yoga in the ninth house. However, this would come with certain amount of efforts. But Venus being in the ninth house is forming a beautiful yoga because Venus is an important planet for you. One, it rules your fifth house, which is about progress, which is all about positional success, and it's all about future. So it'll make you quite futuristic. I would say the next few weeks of Venus transit, when it will move through Aquarius and then get exalted in Pisces, over the next few weeks, you can experience some breakthrough developments as far as your fortune, long distance travel, and your career is concerned. That is something which will come back on track. And in case your dasha, antardasha is supportive during this time, because your ninth house, your 10th house, and your 11th house, these three houses will have maximum energy. Because if you see most of the planet, either they will be in your ninth house, 10th house, and the 11th house. So that is going to be the focus of the hour during March and April. So this is where you need to make the most. It is the time to capitalize on your higher learning if you were to apply for new jobs or a shift in your workplace, and also games of all kinds. This is something which is very supportive as far as the energies are concerned over the next few weeks. So please watch out for it. And this in general applies for most people. Wherever the sign of Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries falls in your chart, this is where you will have most of the planets placed. So these three houses are, of course, related to each other because they're one after the other, are going to have a significant impact in your life. And I would say that the month of March, besides the first few days, the later part is quite exciting, and you will move through a nice month of April when Sun also meets Jupiter in the sign of Aries in your 11th house. So I wish you the very best and I hope that you make the most of it. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Cancer ascendants. For Cancer ascendants, let me share with you that this video I am making for a holistic transit of the month of March and how some of the important planetary transits would have an impact on you and the kind of results it will deliver. So I have prepared a sample chart using my sophisticated software, considering the time when Cancer is rising on the first day of the month, and we are going to look at some important transits. Firstly, Jupiter, which is your ninth lord, and Jupiter is also your sixth lord, which continues to transit in your 10th house. We will also understand the transit of Mars, which is an important planet for you because it's your fifth lord. We will understand the transit of Sun and also Moon. Moon's transit, being your Lagna lord, makes very frequent transit because Moon changes its sign every 2.5 days. So those days will be very important for you when the moon moves through the sign of Capricorn, then Aquarius, then Pisces and Aries, because these are the four signs where most of the planets will be over the next few days. Because Mars and Venus continue to transit in your seventh house, they both will move from the seventh house to your eighth house. Venus will move on 7th of March. Mars is going to move on the 14th of March. So this is something which is going to bring in deep level transformation because they will come in contact with Saturn here. There will be a three planetary conjunction. All these three planets rule important houses for you. Transformation is the key for Cancer ascendants. You have to transform. Either you do it by your own will or you will be forced by situation. So you can encounter things that could change all of a sudden, certain decisions that could lead to transformation, that could lead to an unpleasant situation. So that is something which you have to be prepared for at a mental level. You would need plenty of resilience because your eighth, ninth, and the 10th house are going to have the maximum impact during this transit. Mercury, that is transiting in your eighth house, is going to move to your ninth house and it is going to be conjoined with Rahu. This is your 12th lord, which is debilitated, and also your third lord. So, any kind of change which Mercury rules in your chart, being the third lord, could be unpleasant. So, you have to be very mindful. You have to prepare yourself mentally. Saving grace for you is this Jupiter, which is your ninth lord, which continues to stay strong in the 10th house and forming a beautiful yoga. So it's your ninth lord. It is also your sixth lord related to job, daily routine, and plays a very important role as far as fortune is concerned, bhagya is concerned, dharma is concerned. So you have to stick to the path of righteousness. You have to stick to your dharma and follow that path. Workplace, there is likely to be expansion because because Jupiter is continue to support you because Jupiter continues to support you, and you will also have Sun making a transit around mid of March in your ninth house, and Sun is also one of the significators of the ninth house. This is where it is giving you kind of Dhan Yoga. So between mid of March till mid of April, if you're expecting any kind of increment at your workplace, or if you're also looking to create a secondary source of income, this is a favorable time for you. You must act upon this time. But transformation is the key. This could be a bit of a challenging month for you because the energies are quite complex. Your eighth house is quite heavy. The significator Saturn is there. Mars is going to join. Venus is going to join. You're likely to become more secretive and hide things and keep them to yourself. As long as it will benefit you, you can make use of it. However, if you take interest in hidden knowledge, in something that involves research, subjects such as Jyotish, astrology, you are likely to learn in a very fast and an easy manner. So you need to make use of that time. Spirituality will come naturally to you. The more you meditate, the more you practice things such as yoga, any kind of workout in your daily routine, these three planets will also jointly aspect your second house. So you have to be very careful of what you say and how you say it, because you will not be able to take your words back. So you have to be careful of the tone and the kind of words that you use with other people. This is the only remedy that I can suggest you during this time. And at the same time, you need to ensure that you eat well and a balanced diet. Overall, I say a complex month, but as and when time will pass, it will get better as far as workplace related concerns are concerned. I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Leo and try to understand how the month of March for Leo ascendants is going to be. I'm talking about some key transits of Leo ascendants. For example, I'm going to talk about Jupiter's transit, which is an important planet for you. It rules your fifth house and it rules your eighth house. It is a Karaka Graha for you. I'm going to focus on Mars, which is a Yoga Karaka planet for you, because Mars for you rules your fourth house and the fifth house. One Kendra, one Trikona house or triangle house. So it becomes a Yoga Karaka planet for you. I'm going to talk about your Lagna Lord, Sun or Surya, and how it is changing signs and what's happening in your chart. Primarily, sixth, seventh, eighth, and the ninth houses in your chart have heavy energies because Mars continues its exaltation transit in the sign of Capricorn till the mid of March, and then it will move to the seventh house. 14th of March, Mars is going to move here. 7th of March, Venus is going to move to your seventh house. So, seventh house has some complex energies because you will have Saturn, you will have Mars, you will have Venus there. Okay, so these kind of conjunctions could cause some issues as far as your married life is concerned, your partnership is concerned, or your relationship is concerned. So, you have to be careful of these matters because this causes like a renunciation yoga. So you want to step yourself away from any kind of relationship or things like that. But I would advise you to step into the situation, take ownership, take charge of it, and work accordingly. Mars, when it will enter your seventh house, it is considered Maran Karaka in the seventh house, where it loses its significance. You will think that fortune does not really favor you over the next few weeks. But this is where you would look to Jupiter and have that support because this is your fifth lord, which continues to transit in your ninth house. And this Jupiter is going very strong. It is aspecting your ascendant by the fifth aspect. It will give you the right kind of knowledge to deal with your partnership, to deal with your marriage, to deal with your relationship, and focus a lot on harmony because there could be communication gap. As Mercury, that rules speech for you, Mercury is your second lord and your 11th lord. It is going to transit in your eighth house. It is going to meet Rahu. This is where Mercury is going to be debilitated. However, this debilitated Mercury is causing a Neech Bhanga for you because it is debilitated in the eighth house. So it acts in favor. This Mercury will be conjoined by Sun, which is a Lagna Lord, in the mid of the month, which demands transformation at the physical level and also transformation as far as your communication is concerned. Things related to family is concerned, that is going to be the focus of the hour. Whatever work that you do, you need to make sure that you do it for your family. You earn something, give an X amount of percentage to your family members. Be conscious about it. That is an ultimate remedy for the month of March for you because seventh house, eighth house, these have very high and or heavy energies during this month, which could cause unnecessary discomfort or transformation. I consider the month of March to be more of a mixed month due to these complex energies, due to the position of the planets. Saturn for you continues to transit in the seventh house, and during this conjunction, Saturn is going to be the strongest planet. because it gains directional strength in the seventh house. However, I would want, or you would want, Mars to have that strength. Saturn and Mars coming together in Aquarius is a complex conjunction because Mars is the one that beats Saturn. Saturn does not like Mars. Mars gets exalted in the sign of Saturn. Saturn gets debilitated in the sign of Mars. So this is a kind of complex conjunction, and for your ascendant, you would want to strengthen your Mars. Continue to work out. Go to the gym each and every day. Be conscious about it. You need a lot of that. You need a lot of energy in anything that you do. So make sure you make the most of it. And this shall pass. That is what I could say. It is overall mixed month, but you should look forward to it and continue to focus and work on your Jupiter. You would need a mentor's direction during this time. So make sure that you have someone who you could look up to. I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Virgo ascendants. In this video, I'm going to talk about the month of March and how it is going to have an impact on Virgo ascendant signs or the moon signs. At a physical level, you can look at this from your ascendant sign, and at a mental level, you can read this transit from your moon sign as well. So, Virgo ascendants, what I am going to talk about in this short video is certain energies that are going to play a role because March is the month of change. There are a lot of changes that are happening this month. Planets are moving signs. Mars is going to change signs. Venus is going to change signs. Sun, Mercury is going to change signs. While Jupiter and Saturn continue to be in their same signs. So your fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, and eighth house, these are the four houses that are likely to witness a change. Okay, now planets moving from the fifth house to the sixth house. It is going to be interesting because you have currently Mars, which is in your fifth house, and Venus that is transiting in your fifth house, and they're going to move to the sixth house. Venus is moving first on 7th, and then you have Mars that is moving in the mid of the month. Now, this is a complex energy because both will come in contact with Saturn here. Okay. Now, sixth house, Mars and Saturn do really well in this house. Venus, which is your ninth lord, will go in sixth house on 7th of March. Venus is considered Maran Karaka in the sixth house. It is losing its significance, and which is not a good sign. This ensures some sort of complexity that you're likely to have in your daily life, in your daily routine. What you can do to avoid it is put a conscious effort to make sure that you have a routine full of discipline and activities. The more activities you will have on a daily basis, be very conscious about it. Otherwise, you will going to struggle. The later part of March is going to make you feel very much confused about your future and what you intend to do because you do have Sun for the first half of March to be in the sign of Aquarius along with Saturn, but this Sun is going to move to your seventh house. Your 12th Lord is moving to the seventh house. That also indicates some sort of repercussions you can have as far as your relationship is concerned. For those people who are looking forward to getting married, this could be a helpful time. This could be a time where you might see some results to fructify, or it will put your focus back into relationship. Partner's health could also be of a concern during this time, so you need to be a bit careful and manage some of these things because your Mercury, that is your Lagna Lord, is going to come in your seventh house and meet Rahu there. Mercury currently is transiting in your sixth house. It is going to move in your seventh house where it gets debilitated. And Mercury is not considered the best in the seventh house. The only saving grace is since it will be aspecting your ascendant, that is a saving grace. It might give you some positivity as far as from a hope perspective is concerned. But you need to be very careful of the kind of decisions that you make and your physical well-being. That has to be taken into account because you might feel weak or lethargic during the second half of the month. This is where you need to put conscious efforts in terms of ensuring that you stay active all throughout the time. Either you start doing yoga, go for a walk, exercise in the gym. One of the remedies that you could do is since you are an earth sign, Virgo is an earth element, and Mercury is going to go debilitated. You need to walk barefoot on the grass, and that is how you would be able to strengthen your Mercury and your overall physical personality. So make sure you do this as a potential remedy. Jupiter continues to transit in your ninth house. Jupiter is your fourth and the seventh lord. So, marriage related things, relationship related things are going to be the cause of concern for the next 1.5 months. So, this is something where you have to be careful in terms of the decisions that you make. Just think about this thing that this time should pass. This time should really pass because Saturn continues to be strong in the sixth house. Out of the conjunction, Saturn is very well placed there because it's a natural malefic. Mars also does well in this house, being a natural malefic. It will help you. This conjunction will really help you succeed in any competitive activities or if you were to overcome your enemies. This is where you can also read this transit from the perspective because we see job from the sixth house. So any kind of changes that are related to your job could likely come in play. But for this, you will have to put some extra efforts because your Lagna Lord during this time is suffering. It is under a malefic influence. And at the same time, you will have your 12th Lord transiting in your 7th house, aspecting your ascendant. So a lot of complexities in 6th house, 7th house, and the 8th house. Two of these three houses are not so good houses because they represent challenges, they represent problems, they represent unnecessary change. They also represent debts and diseases. So your health and well-being needs to be the focus of the hour. The first week or 10 days, you will feel great in the month of March. The later part of the month is quite tricky, where you have to focus on not on your mental and your physical well-being. Make yourself a priority if you were to overcome this time period. Overall, I would say they're mixed energies, but with time, things are going to get better. I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Libra ascendants and try to understand how the month of March will be for Libra ascendant and how it looks like. In this video, I'm looking at all the transits, and especially the most important transits for you would be for the transit of Venus, Mercury, and Saturn, because these three planets are quite important as far as Libra ascendants are concerned. Moon is also important for Libra ascendants because it is your 10th lord. However, Moon's transit is quite fast. But you need to look at the things when Moon will make a transit in your fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house. These are the times when it will come in contact with different planets. So depending on your dasha, antardasha, prasantadasha, one thing is quite certain. Over the next few weeks, you will have some decisions, some complexities related to your workplace. Because Moon in successive days is going through different conjunctions that will trigger things and decisions related to the workplace or such matters are concerned. Let's try and understand firstly your Lagna Lord, Venus, and what is happening with Venus. Venus continues to transit in the fourth house, forming a nice yoga there. Venus is also gaining directional strength in the fourth house. It is conjoined with Mars, which is also one of the significator of the fourth house. So last few weeks you might have had some issues related to fourth house matters, some decisions related to real estate, related to your mother or your homeland, your overall happiness and well-being. But this Venus is going to move out from the sign of Capricorn and it will enter your fifth house in the sign of Aquarius. Your Lagna Lord going into the fifth house is a very positive sign as far as your progress is concerned and your future is concerned. This is when it will come in contact with Saturn, which is your fifth lord. So these two are forming a beautiful yoga. In case you're looking for a progression or any sort of success as far as anything that you do in life, this could potentially be a good month for you. Saving grace, I would say first week, Mercury continues to be in your fifth house. Later, it is going to move to your sixth house in the sign of Pisces. This is where Mercury is debilitated. However, since it's in the sixth house, it is causing Nichabhanga, which is cancellation of debility. It is in contact with Rahu. This is the time when you will be able to be successful in countering your enemy. Because one supporting factor for you is this Jupiter here, which is aspecting your ascendant, with your ascendant lord being very strongly placed in transit in your fifth house. Your fifth lord Saturn continues to be in this house. So therefore, you are likely to gain some sort of strength that you might be losing in the last few days. So there is a hope, there is some positivity that is there over the next few days. It is dependent on you how you make the most of this transit, because fifth house, sixth house, and seventh house will have complex energies. The most important part of this transit is that your fifth house is undergoing some very positive changes, some very positive developments, because even Mars, which for you rules the second house and it rules the seventh house, is going to make a transit in the fifth house itself mid of March. Yes, so 14th of March, Mars is moving into your fifth house. So this is where it will come in contact with Saturn, with Venus. So you could expect certain results with regards to fifth house matter that are quite promising as far as your future is concerned. So month of March for you is all about future planning, future decision making, any sort of things that were halted, which were halting your progress, your path to success will now start getting materialized. These are important yogas for you, which you need to take into account. And in case you're going to a favorable Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratnatadasha, you will see results that are related to your future for your overall well-being. Because there are important wealth yogas or dhan yogas that are pretty active over the next few days. Now, some of the things that you could be mindful of is you have to take care of your health and well-being, because there could be some minor health issues related to your skin, related to your either your stomach or your liver. So you have to take extra care of yourself and what you consume, what you eat. Take care of your gut and your digestive system. If you're able to do that, this time is quite good for you, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Scorpio. For Scorpio ascendants, how is the month of March looking like? In this video, I'm going to talk about different transits and put a very holistic analysis in terms of predictions and how the time is going to be. For Scorpio ascendants, the most important planet becomes your ascendant lord, that is Mars, which continues to make transit in its exaltation sign for the first of the month in the third house, bringing some positive change. So any change that is coming through during this transit is positive, is good, that is going to help you. The efforts that you put in the first 2 weeks are going to give you results for the next 6 to 7 months. So make sure you don't shy away from putting efforts. Your Lagna Lord is going to move out from the sign of Capricorn, where it is exalted. It is going to enter Aquarius in the fourth house. And this is where it will also meet Saturn. This transit is going to happen on 14th of March, and then Mars is going to stay there for the next few days. It is also going to conjoin Saturn. Mars is one of the significator of the fourth house because it's Bhumikarak. So any things or decisions related to your homeland, real estate, vehicle, your mother are going to be of prime importance, because Venus is also going to make a transit in your fourth house. You will have a three planetary conjunction while Mercury will move out of the fourth house and enter the sign of Pisces. Mercury currently is Maran Karak in the fourth house. It'll go to Pisces, it'll be debilitated and conjoined with Rahu. However, I'm not too bothered about it because Mercury is not the focus of the hour. It's your eighth lord. If it's debilitated, it's fine. So you shouldn't be very much concerned of it. What we need to really focus on is this Mars, which is transiting your fourth house, and these planets will be jointly aspecting your 10th house. So your focus will be to expand your career, to put a lot of focus on your workplace environment. This is going to be the focus of the hour. So there could be certain decisions that could trigger. One thing that you have to be very careful of is any kind of politics at your workplace, and be very careful of the people that you work with or those who are around, because the environment could have a significant impact. Whether it will be good or bad depends on your ongoing dasha, antardasha, pratantardasha, but this will be the focus of the hour. You would need to do things to fix your workplace environment or things that you do at your workplace. One remedy for you during this time could be to organize your desk and make sure that your surroundings are absolutely neat, clean, and organized, particularly at your workplace. Make sure of one thing, that you do not eat where you sit and work. Have a separate eating space. Even if you're loaded with work, you move out, go to a coffee shop or a cafeteria or the pantry or somewhere else to have your meal. Avoid even munching snacks at your work desk. This is something which could be a potential remedy for you. Another important planetary transit for you is the 10th Lord transit, which is Sun for you, that is moving through the sign of Aquarius in your fourth house, where Sun is not very comfortable because it loses its direction. It gains directional strength in the 10th house. Fourth house, it loses direction. Similarly, it applies to Mercury as well. But Sun is going to move in the sign of Pisces in your fifth house, mid of the month, and it will come in contact with Mercury and Rahu. This Sun is going to be very strong during this time. So the second half of the month is all about planning for things related to your workplace, your job, and the kind of business that you have. That should be the focus of hour for you in order to make the most of this transit. Jupiter, which is again a very important planet for you and the lord of the fifth house, the dispositor of that time for Rahu, Sun, and Mercury, continues to transit in the sixth house. This transit is more of a mixed transit for you because Jupiter does not feel very comfortable in the sixth house when you put him in daily routine. In his daily routine, Jupiter appreciates knowledge. So the best remedy for you is read a chapter or two each and every day. So if you make that a habit, success for you is guaranteed. You have complexities of things related to your fourth house during this time. You need to step out of your comfort zone. Do things that you've never done before. Experiment with new things. You are likely to succeed if you do that. Try out new things or new ways of work. Try to have an innovative approach. Therefore, it is important for you to read something on a day-to-day basis. And another remedy for you could be to write. Write from your hands, or things that you can do which uses your hands during this time. That could be at most beneficial for you. Fifth house will also have some complex energies, so this is the time for you to plan for your future and look at some of the things and remove any kind of uncertainty that you might have over the next few weeks or so. Overall, it's a mixed month because if you get out of your comfort zone, it's going to be good for you. If you don't, if you stay in your comfort zone, it is going to make you very lethargic and it is not going to help you to succeed. This is the word of caution, and I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Now let's talk about Sagittarius ascendants, how the month of March is going to be. In this video, I'm looking at key transits and how it is going to support you and the kind of results you can expect to be delivered. Now, I would want to understand and look at how Jupiter, which is your Lagna lord, and it continues to transit in the fifth house. That is the biggest saving grace for Sagittarius ascendants. Otherwise, the kind of changes that could happen during this month would be quite unpleasant. So remember my word that your knowledge and wisdom is going to play a very important role in how you deal with these changes that are going to be extremely uncomfortable for some people if your dasha antardasha is not supportive of good results, because Jupiter continues to make transit in the fifth house. It is forming a beautiful yoga from the fifth house. It is aspecting your ninth house. It is aspecting your ascendant by the special aspect, and it is also aspecting your 11th house. So it has some very beautiful aspects. Most importantly, it will ensure that you use your knowledge, you put your knowledge in the right direction, because it continues to aspect your ascendant. So it will protect you in ensuring that you make the right decision. You need to listen to Jupiter. You need to listen to your guru or your mentor or any father figure here. Okay. And at the same time, your third house will have some very complex energies, because the other important planet, which is your fifth lord, Mars, that continues to be exalted for the first half of the month in the sign of Capricorn, will move in your third house, where Venus will already be there when Mars will move, because Venus will make a move to the third house on 7th of March. Your third house will have some complex energies. You will have Sun there for some time. Saturn and Sun and Saturn are having a same degree conjunction in the third house. Mars is going to join in, which is your fifth lord. Venus is going to join, which is your 11th lord and the sixth lord. Expect unpleasant changes. Expect certain changes related to things which will make you put a lot more efforts in anything that you do. So do not shy away from it. Use your use your wisdom, use your knowledge to cope up with it. See, Saturn, which is your third lord, is gaining a very strong position because it is also Vargottama. It is in the sign of Aquarius during this transit, which makes it super strong. And third house is the house of change. Any change that triggers is through this house. You need to understand that change is going to bring you growth opportunities. So, in order to ensure that it shouldn't bring in that problem, listen to Jupiter, try to learn, read a chapter or two every day, try to upskill yourself how you will be able to cope up with this change because the change could be related to your workplace. You're given a new task and you will have to learn, you will have to take some training or guidance. So be proactive in these matters. Your Mercury, which is your 10th lord and the 7th lord, is going to enter your 4th house on 7th of March, where it gets debilitated and it is also Maran Karaka in the 4th house. It's a double whammy kind of a situation, which means that workplace matters are going to be the focus of the hour. You might have some unpleasant environment as far as your workplace is concerned. So make sure that you stay away from any kind of politics. Some influential people or senior people could play a role. So maintain a low key for the second half of the month. Take things easy. If you were to take a few days off, do not shy away from that as well, because that is going to be quite evident and important as far as your well-being is concerned. Relationship would also be the focus of the hour. So you need to consciously listen to your partner, listen to your spouse, and involve them in making decisions, because this is where your ninth lord sun is going to also be coming in the 4th house mid of the month and in contact with Rahu. Sun loses its direction in the 4th house and it is a watery sign, most importantly. So you would be in a situation that you feel that, okay, luck does not really favor me, or I need to put some extra efforts. This whole environment is quite detrimental and I'm not very satisfied or happy. Stay calm, have plenty of patience, resilience. This shall pass. So they're mixed energies. First half of the month is quite positive. Second half of the month is challenging because it is going to bring you some changes. If you listen to your wisdom, your knowledge, your learning, if you hold back to it, if you have faith and confidence in it, you are going to pass out. You are going to eventually succeed and come out with flying colors. Listen to Jupiter and follow that path. Overall, I say it's a mixed month, some unpleasant change. Be prepared for it mentally as well as physically. I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Capricorn ascendants. What's happening in the world of Capricorn ascendants? In this video, I am making a very detailed, holistic view of important planetary conjunctions and transits that are happening in the month of March, because there are significant changes. Whenever there are a number of planetary changes and transits, it does have an impact on most of the people. And this is what the month of March is in the year 2024, which is bringing some significant changes. We will talk about your ascendant lord, which is Saturn or Shani, and how it continues to transit in the sign of Aquarius, which is a strong position for him. It is forming a natural Dhan Yoga in this transit. It will also be conjoined by Mars in the upcoming days and also Venus, which is your fifth lord, another important and a Yoga Karaka planet for Capricorn ascendants, because Venus also rules your 10th house. So I am very much happy about this transit that Venus is entering your second house and conjoined your Lagna Lord and the second Lord there, and it is forming a beautiful Dhan Yoga. Similarly, Mars being your 11th Lord is entering your second house. It is also giving you a Dhan Yoga. So if you're expecting any kind of increment, any kind of promotion, incentive, or a salary hike, or it could also be a change of work, change of job, or a secondary source of income. Anything that you trade or deal or you do any kind of transaction, you are likely to have some sort of profits there, considering if your dasha is supportive. You are likely to be favorable. This time is likely to be favorable as far as accumulation of wealth is concerned, because income seems to be on a higher side during this time. So this is a good news as far as Capricorn ascendants are concerned, because this income is mostly related to your workplace related matters, because second house has the most complex energies, and mostly these are good energies because you have some very strong and favorable planets that are going through these transit in your second house. Your ninth lord, Mercury, is going to make a transit in your third house in its debilitation sign. Mercury here is achieving a kind of Nicha Bhanga yoga because the dispositor is making a transit in Kendra, that is Jupiter, and aspecting your 10th house. So this time around, you could expect some sort of change, which is for sure as far as your workplace related things are concerned. So either it could be a new job, new kind of work. So be prepared for it. Of course, there are chances that you will be paid well for it if you put certain efforts, because Sun is also going to make a transit in the third house, and Sun is your eighth lord. That could bring some changes all of a sudden because it is connected to your ninth lord, Mercury, and it is also connected to Rahu during this time. So be prepared for any of these changes. However, you need to make sure that any investments that you do or any decisions that you make with regards to your money, accumulated savings, or any wealth related decisions, you have to be careful of it and think of some long term safe investments because this time requires good financial management. Also, at the same time, second house is all about family. So you need to put your focus back into your family, to your folks. Make sure that you consciously spend a lot of time with your family members because this will be the need of the hour, something which you will have to do. Be very careful of your speech and what you say. And secondly, what you consume, because you have multiple planetary conjunction in your second house. So overall, during this transit, your first, second house, third house, fourth house, these are the four houses which are majorly involved and the decisions related to these houses. So you would likely to transform if you you're likely to transform in the positive manner if you take care of your speech and if you take care of what you consume. Be very careful when it comes to dealing with your family, dealing with your relationship, and particularly with people from the opposite sex. You need to ensure that you watch your words and your tone. Be very conscious about it. And at the same time, in terms of your daily diet, ensure that you avoid any kind of indulgence and maintain a balance and a healthy diet during this time. If you do that, wealth is guaranteed and you're likely to succeed as far as workplace related matters are concerned. So overall, a good month, promising month because this Saturn is super strong, Venus is going very well for you, and so is supporting Mercury. I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Aquarius ascendants and what's happening in the month of March for Aquarius ascendants. In this video, I'm giving you a very detailed analysis of different planets and how the transit and their conjunction is going to play a role for Aquarius ascendants. So most importantly, I need to see what's happening with certain key planets. Important planets for you are Venus, which is the fourth lord and the ninth lord. It is a Yoga Karaka planet for you, and you need to welcome Venus in your ascendant, and it will be conjoined with Saturn, which is already going very strong in your ascendant. Though Saturn is Maran Karaka, however, this Saturn demands a lot of discipline in your life, in your physical life, in your physical well being, and also in terms of your mental health. The other important planet for you is Mercury, that is going to be making a transit in your second house, though in a debilitated situation. I'm going to talk about that too. But firstly, I want to make one thing very clear. For Aquarius ascendants, March is the month of transformation, physical transformation, mental transformation, and transformation related to your intelligence, related to your knowledge on what you would like to learn, because you have some complex energies coming in your ascendant. You have Saturn in your ascendant. Later, you're going to have Venus in your ascendant, which is your fourth and the ninth lord, forming a beautiful yoga with Saturn for the remainder of the month. You will also have Mars in your ascendant that will bring in a lot of energies after mid of March. Mars for you is the third lord and the 10th lord. It rules your career, profession, professional success. It also rules changes. Change is inevitable for you, particularly later half of the month. Mars is going to bring in a lot of energy, is going to remove any kind of lethargy that is there in your life. Jupiter continues to make a transit in the third house. Third house, Jupiter is considered Maran Karak. So you will have issues in terms of learning new subjects or things, in terms of enhancing your overall knowledge. And this is something which you need to consciously improve. I would suggest take up a short course that is very practical in nature, which talks about new ways of doing things, which could be about AI, which could be about Gen AI, which could be about robotics, it could be about automation, it could be about data and analytics, it could be about some of the new concepts or things that are related to the current and the emerging technological times that we are living in. So this is something which could benefit you. Now, one thing that you have to be cautious of is Mercury is going to move in your second house, conjoined Rahu, and Sun is also going to be joining them later this month. So the family needs focus and priority during this time. So make sure you put some conscious effort in terms of dealing with your family. One thing that you have to be extremely careful and mindful of is what you say and what you speak, because you're going to have a 2 or 3 planetary conjunction in the second house, which is the house of speech. So this could create some sort of complexity with Rahu being there and Mercury being there. And Mercury, which is the Karaka for speech, is under a severe affliction during this time. Without a doubt, you need to be careful. And particularly, there is wealth yoga that is there during this time, but this is going to make you think about the future and how you would need to manage your funds and make the most of it, during this time. Saturn is Maran Karaka in the first house, but it is being supported by Venus. Mars and Saturn, not a very pleasant conjunction because they don't like each other. Mars beats Saturn. Saturn hates Mars because Saturn gets debilitated in the sign of Mars. Mars gets exalted in the sign of Saturn. This is the kind of relationship which they share. But overall perspective, I would say that Venus is extremely supportive during this time, and you need to look up to Venus. Take a short course, take something which is more practical in nature to support you through this journey. Your Lagna Lord is anyway going through a strong position, so you would at least ensure that you make the right decisions. This is what the direction of travel is for you. In case you wish to take some long distance journeys, this could be an extremely favorable time during the month of March, and also the month of April could be an extremely favorable time for you. I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Let's now talk about Pisces ascendants and what is happening in the month of March. In this video, I'm making a very detailed analysis, and I'm going to do this on month basis to talk about different ascendant signs and how planetary transits are having an impact and the kind of results you can expect. Now, this month is quite important for us because there are multiple planetary transits and complex conjunctions that are happening. It calls for greater level of spiritual awareness. It calls for a great level of sadhana or meditation and trying to cope up with stressful times, because March itself could bring in, as far as the monthly energies are concerned, could bring in a lot of stress at various levels for a lot of people. So in order to cope up with this stress, you need to have a very strong disciplined routine and spiritual practice. Now, during this month, your 12th house is going through some complex energies because it will have multiple planetary conjunction, which calls for spiritual upliftment, which calls for focusing on your sleep. That is likely to be disruptive over the next few days. You have to be extra careful during this time. Okay. I would say that 11th house, 12th house, first house, and second house, these are the 4 houses that will have these complex energies. Now, important planets for you. Jupiter, which is your Lagna Lord, continues to transit in the second house, forming a Dhani Yoga, being in a nice position. Jupiter is also the significator of the second house. So this will ensure that the flow of income and wealth continues. You have to focus on making savings, avoid unnecessary expenditure, because if 12th house have some energies there, you've got Saturn, who continues to be there, your 12th lord in 12th house. You will have Venus joining this Saturn. Venus is your 8th lord and the 3rd lord going into the 12th house. Could bring unnecessary expenditure. You will have Mars also joining these planets, which is a ninth lord in the 12th house. So this would mean that your expense will increase. If you are putting your expenditure on good cause, on dharmic purposes, on your religion, on your family, your elders, or for spiritual purposes, or if you're donating to others, it is good. Otherwise, you have to manage your expenses and any kind of losses that you might incur during this time, because your 12th house is going through some complex energies. Mid of the month, Mars is going to enter in your 12th house, which is your ninth lord. So it is having some sort of affliction in this house because Saturn is going pretty strong. It is the significator of this house, it is in its own sign, its Multrikon sign, and it is also Vargottama, which makes it extremely special. Saving grace for you is the Sun, which is entering in your ascendant. Sun is the significator of the ascendant. So you have to look up to Sun. You have to worship Lord Shiva during this month. I always say that whenever Sun enters your ascendant, that month you should dedicate yourself to Lord Shiva and look up to him, and he will be able to help you during this time, because there's a lot of fire that is coming in the ascendant and you need to channelize this fire. Mercury is also coming in your ascendant on 7th of March, and Mercury is going to be debilitated here and conjoined Rahu. So you have to be careful of fourth house matters and seventh house matters, your relationship, marriage, partnership, and also things that bring comfort to you, things that bring ease in your life, things that you like to do. So you're likely to get out of your comfort zone. And this is the message that Mercury is bringing for you, that it is about time for you to step out of your comfort zone. It is a complicated month for you. You have to focus a lot on meditation, on sadhana, and take it easy. Avoid any major decisions that you were to make in the month of March. If those decisions could wait, then please do that. At least I would say that you don't have any malefic in the second house. Otherwise, your Lagna would have gone through like a Papakartari yoga during this time that could have been detrimental for your success. So, as far as that is not there, your 12th house is currently in the Papakartari yoga, which is okay because Mars is here. When Mars moves, the yoga is gone. So, the second half of the month of March is quite tricky because the energies in the 12th house are quite heavy during this time, and you have to take extra care. Just remember, this time is going to pass and you will come out with flying colors. As far as your workplace related matters are concerned, focus on savings. You need to curtail your expenditure. This is a very clear message of this transit. This is the kind of remedy that you must have during this time. Overall, I would say mixed transit, and this shall pass. I wish you the very best. Thank you very much. This was about the month of March and how different planets are playing a role and how it is going to have an impact on different ascendant signs and the moon signs. In case you like this video, please share it with your friends, with your family, and I will keep making videos on a month-on-month basis and bring in interesting concepts and predictions related to different ascendants. I hope you found this video helpful and hope these changes turn out to be positive for all of us, and may these planets continue to bless us. Thank you very much. God bless you all.